everyone, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. We now have some explosive new information to share with you. Let me start by saying how proud I am of Jocelyn's spirit. She has grown into such a strong young woman, and watching her refuse to accept her current circumstances has been nothing short of inspiring. When she first stumbled upon that makeshift weapon hidden away in the room where she's being held, I actually gasped out loud. Anna, even while struggling with her own inner turmoil, still found the presence of mind to create something that could help the next person trapped in that same nightmare. It's a beautiful, quiet act of defiance that reminds me so much of the resilient women who have always been the backbone of this show. Jocelyn's gratitude toward Anna is genuine and immediate, and it fuels her determination to act. But here's where the story takes a turn that feels different from so many of the escape plots we've seen before, and it's what keeps me coming back day after day with such excitement. Cassius has been holding Jocelyn against her will, behaving as though she should actually be thankful for the so-called protection he's offering her. He keeps suggesting that staying put is safer than facing whatever other threats are waiting outside those walls. Yet the more Jocelyn learns about the bigger picture, especially the risks involving Ross and the secrets she's uncovered through her connections, the more impossible it becomes for her to simply sit still. I've watched countless characters in similar binds on General Hospital over the years, and usually the choice is straightforward: fight or flight, with very little room for hesitation. Remember how some of our beloved heroines in the past would strike without a second thought and never look back? This time, though, the writers are painting something far more layered, and I believe it's intentional. Jocelyn isn't just fighting for her freedom. She's wrestling with a complicated emotional pull that's growing stronger with every passing episode. The tension between Jocelyn and Cassius has been building in such a fascinating way. Their shared history, that strange entanglement that started long before this captivity, is turning into what I can only describe as a new kind of obsession on the show. It's not the classic villain and victim dynamic we saw in earlier storylines. No, this feels more intimate, more conflicted, and honestly, more human. Jocelyn knows the danger Cassius represents, yet she also sees glimpses of something else in him, something that makes it impossible for her to view him as purely evil. That is the key difference I keep coming back to when I compare this arc to the original plots that have defined General Hospital for so long. In the past, when a character was pushed into a corner like this, the resolution was often swift and final. Here, the story is slowing down just enough to let us feel the weight of that moral struggle, and it makes the whole situation feel so much more intense. I keep asking myself the same question every time the credits roll. Will Jocelyn actually use that knife on Cassius to make her escape? My answer, after thinking it through and watching every subtle glance and hesitation the actress brings to the role, is yes, she probably will. But here's the part that has me truly hooked and proves how cleverly the writers are diverging from what we might expect. I don't believe she'll leave him to bleed out or abandon him completely. Jocelyn simply cannot accept the full extent of the dangers Cassius faces if she walks away without looking back. That reluctance isn't weakness. It's the very thing that makes her character feel fresh and real in 2026. She might wound him just enough to create the opening she needs, but then, in a moment that could change everything, she'll turn around and help stabilize him before slipping away. It's a twist I never saw coming when this captivity storyline first began, and it's exactly what sets this chapter apart from the more black and white rescues of years gone by. This evolving relationship between Jocelyn and Cassius is what I mean when I talk about a new obsession taking shape on General Hospital. It's not the fiery romance or the bitter rivalry we've grown used to. Instead, it's a slow-burning connection built on survival, shared secrets, and an almost unwilling understanding of each other's pain. Cassius pushed her into this terrible position, yet the way he speaks to her, the way he tries to justify his actions, has created a bond that neither of them can easily break. I've been predicting story directions for decades, and sometimes I'm right, and sometimes the show surprises me. But right now, I feel confident saying this entanglement is going to carry us through many more weeks of edge-of-your-seat drama. It's the kind of storytelling that reminds me why I fell in love with this soap opera in the first place. The way it lets characters be complicated and contradictory without ever losing our sympathy. Every clue Anna left behind, every frustrated attempt Jocelyn has already made, like that earlier moment when she swung the chair and still couldn't break free, adds another layer of suspense that keeps the story burning hot. I can feel the momentum building towards something major. And it's the sort of anticipation that makes me call my old viewing friends just to compare notes after each episode. We all agree this isn't the Jocelyn we knew a few years ago. She's evolved, she's tougher, and yet she still carries that core of compassion that makes her decisions so compelling to watch. The fact that she might save the very man who imprisoned her before making her final escape is the kind of bold, character-driven choice that proves General Hospital still knows how to surprise us while staying true to the hearts of its people. I've seen the show tackle kidnapping, revenge, and redemption arcs many times, but rarely have they mixed those elements with such psychological depth. The danger from Ross hovering in the background only heightens the stakes, because if he discovers what Jocelyn has learned, none of them may be safe. Yet instead of rushing to a simple confrontation, the writers are letting us sit with Jocelyn's internal battle, and I love them for it. It makes every commercial break feel endless, and every new scene feel like a gift. Will she go through with the strike? Will that obsession pull her back at the last second? I believe the answer lies somewhere in between, and that gray area is where the real heat of this storyline lives. As someone who has watched through births, deaths, weddings, and every imaginable scandal, I can tell you this current chapter feels alive with possibility. Jocelyn's discovery of Anna's knife wasn't just a plot device. It was the spark that lit a fuse leading straight into uncharted territory for her character. The way she and Cassius keep circling each other, each one seeing both the threat and the humanity in the other, is creating a tension that crackles on screen. It's different from the straightforward heroics we cheered for in the past, and that difference is exactly why I'm so invested. The show is reminding us that even in the most desperate moments, our favorite people can still choose mercy, still choose connection, even when every instinct tells them to run. I'm so proud of Jocelyn's spirit. She has grown into a strong young woman who refuses to accept her captivity. When she found that makeshift weapon hidden in her room, I gasped aloud. Even while struggling with her own troubles, Anna left behind a quiet act of defiance that reminds me of the resilient women who have always anchored this show. Jocelyn's gratitude is immediate and fuels her resolve. Yet the story takes a turn far more layered than the straightforward escape plots we've seen before. Cassius has held her against her will, acting as if she should be thankful for his so-called protection. He insists staying put is safer than facing the threats outside, especially those involving Ross and the secrets Jocelyn has uncovered. I've watched countless similar binds over the decades, where heroines usually struck fast and never looked back. This time, the writers are giving us something deeper and more human. Jocelyn isn't just fighting for freedom, she's wrestling with a complicated emotional pull toward the very man who trapped her. Their shared history has turned into a new kind of obsession on the show. It's not the classic villain and victim tale. This feels intimate, conflicted, and real. Jocelyn sees danger in Cassius, but she also glimpses something else that stops her from viewing him as purely evil. That nuance is the key difference from older plots, where resolutions were swift and final. Here the story slows just enough to let us feel the moral weight, and it makes every scene crackle with intensity. I keep asking myself, will Jocelyn actually use that knife? Yes, she does. She escapes. The door finally opens, and she's free. But here's where the tale becomes truly electrifying. Jocelyn chooses not to report Cassius. She keeps the entire ordeal secret, refusing to call the authorities or reveal what he did. Instead of seeking justice in the usual way, she protects him. That single decision transforms their bond into something entirely new, a genuine couple on General Hospital. After the fear, the knife, the escape, and her choice to shield him, Jocelyn and Cassius begin to explore feelings neither expected. You can feel the pull in every careful glance and conversation that follows. Cassius is stunned by her mercy, and Jocelyn is drawn to the man who both terrified and tried to protect her in his own twisted way. It's a slow-burn romance with an edge of danger that reminds me of the show's greatest love stories, yet it carries a fresh obsession that feels brand new for 2026. This evolving relationship is exactly what I mean by a new obsession taking shape. Built on survival, shared secrets, and an unwilling understanding of each other's pain, their connection runs both ways. Jocelyn could have ended it with one phone call, but she didn't. That choice proves the obsession is mutual and turns their story from captivity into something romantic and utterly compelling. The threat from Ross still lingers if he learns what she knows and now protects. None of them may be safe, but the writers let us sit with this new couple's quiet tension instead of rushing to confrontation. Every clue Anna left, every earlier failed attempt like the chair swing, adds suspense that keeps the story burning hot. I feel the momentum building towards something major, and it makes me call my longtime viewing friends after each episode to compare notes. This isn't the Jocelyn we knew a few years ago. She's tougher, yet she still carries that core of compassion that makes her choices so watchable. The fact that she not only wounds her captor just enough to escape, but then helps stabilize him and later chooses silence is the bold, character-driven twist that proves General Hospital still knows how to surprise us while staying true to its people's hearts. I've seen the show tackle kidnapping, revenge, and redemption many times, but rarely have they blended those elements with such psychological depth and then turned them into a real romance. The way Jocelyn and Cassius circle each other, seeing both threat and humanity in one another, creates a tension that crackles on screen. It's different from the straightforward heroics of the past, and that difference is why I'm so invested. Even in the darkest moments, our favorites can still choose mercy, connection, and yes, love. As someone who has watched through every birth, death, wedding, and scandal, this chapter feels alive with possibility. Jocelyn's discovery of the knife lit a fuse leading straight into uncharted territory. Their move from captor and captive to something far more intimate is creating sparks that keep me glued to my chair. Will their secrets stay hidden long enough for real feelings to grow? Will the past come crashing back when others start asking questions? Whatever happens, this storyline burns with the passion and surprise that has kept General Hospital on my screen for 4 decades. I wouldn't miss a second.